Today, the moon is in Gemini, the sign of information, communication, mental processing. Let's talk about self-care for integrating information. We have a self-care new moon coming up on Friday, the new moon in Cancer, and we're completing the Gemini moon cycle. So, integrating information and processing and digesting what we've been learning. So what will we be doing going forward, and how can we take care of ourselves? I'm going to share some thoughts with you today about how to process some of what's going on in the news, some of what is causing us to feel things, which is appropriate for the Cancer new moon, and how to work with that energy. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Wednesday, July 3rd. Tomorrow is Independence Day in the United States. Our 4th of July, our day of freedom, our day when we celebrate our freedoms. And so we're in this moon cycle that is completing, that has had to do with information and learning things, and having some of the information revealed to us that has been it's been in the vibe, especially I'm thinking politically, with some of the things that have been coming out, the Supreme Court decisions and what it means for the country. That is a lot of information to absorb and digest and know what to do with. And so when we feel overwhelmed by information, when we feel overwhelmed by the different voices, the different ways that fear and chaos feels like it is showing up in the messaging all around us, that can make us feel overwhelmed. It can make us like have a kind of outrage fatigue, right? When you get outraged, but then there's more outrage, and then there's even more, right? It just keeps escalating. And so how do we take care of ourselves in the context of all of that? How do we process the information and do it in a way that's healthy and productive, right? And allows us to be creative and available for new possibilities, how we can show up in ways that are helpful. So first of all, and we are past the Neptune and Saturn stations. So Neptune and Saturn are both retrograde now, which take us inward. So we are processing the bigger picture of what is transpiring. It goes inward now, where we need to reconcile, come to terms with who we are, what we need to do, what it means for us, what it means for how we show up in the world. And so and we had the moon joining Jupiter yesterday. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance. It makes everything feel big. It can feel overwhelming. So we are heading toward as I said, the Cancer new moon on Friday, which is about reminding us that self-care matters. Caring in general matters, and how we take care of ourselves is a really important factor in how we are able to process information and get to a place where we can show up in ways that are productive. But we have to start with self-care, right? Sometimes you have to stop being productive to take care of yourself, to regenerate your batteries, to get your needs met, so that you can be more effective in being a force for healing in the world. So we've got Independence Day tomorrow. We have thinking about the big picture for our country, the Constitution. These are big picture questions. Will democracy stand? Will it hold? This is a big question, and I just want to remind us that none of this is written. that we are participants. We are in the present moment. And so when you are already leaping into the future and the what ifs and the fears that come up in the present when you think about the scary outcomes for the future, it already helps you to create that future. So so don't give energy to your fears. It's okay to have them. uh Feelings and fears and emotions are really natural. Just notice them, go, wow, isn't that interesting how I have that fear. And then remind yourself that right in this moment, right now, I'm okay, right? And breathe. And it's when we take ourselves out of the present moment to imagine, yeah, but what if? And then we have all the what ifs. And so just bring yourself back into the present moment if you find that happening for you. So taking care of yourself. The Cancer new moon is a reset in terms of self-care. And I think it was Audre Lorde who said, uh, self-care is an act of political warfare. And it really is true that when we take care of ourselves, we are choosing not to be destroyed, right? We are choosing to affirm our life, our existence, our creative power, our ability to be who we are, our inherent freedom, our inherent freedoms. So, freedom to some extent is what we decide it is. And some of the ways that we might give up our freedom are a choice. Some of it's not a choice, but some of it is a choice. And so where do you have that choice? And where can you choose to acknowledge your own freedom, your own, freedom to move and be and create in this moment? What kinds of freedoms do you have, and what can you do with those freedoms? Because that's the reckoning that is happening at this moment in history. And we are in a moment in history. This is a significant moment that has and will have meaning and will be thought about and talked about way into the future. So the fact that you are living through it, that you are in the middle of it right now, is a gift, because you have the ability to choose and decide, how do I respond to this moment? How do I respond to this, these limitations, these energies, these conflicts and confrontations with our own limits? And the Capricorn structures, the Capricorn institutions that need to change and adapt and be reinvented as we consider, who do we need to be and how do we need to accomplish that going forward. So the forces of destruction, the ones that want to pull you out of yourself, out of your power, off your game, they look like fear. They look like chaos. They look like overwhelm. So whenever you notice those things in the messaging around you, take a step back. Notice, wow, this message is really causing me to feel fear. So I am going to step away from that message and, maybe spend some time listening to the birds or appreciating the clouds. So feeling into your body, remembering that that's just a message, and it's actually, it's an act that is trying to throw you off center. And so the healing response to that is to reclaim your power to be in your center, to choose that ability that you have in the moment, to have freedom, to be free in the ways that you do have a choice about. So So recognize the forces of destruction and how they show up, the messages that they show up as. So if it's a message that's causing you to feel fear, if it's a message that is causing you to feel overwhelmed or confused about what's right, it's probably designed to do that. So notice the forces of destruction where they are and make a choice about how to respond. You have that healing power to respond from who you are and from where your center of power is. And power begins with self-care. So we're going to talk more about this as we head toward Friday's Cancer new moon, and the revolutionary act of self-care. Self-care as an act of rebellion, self-care as a choice to have hope, self-care as a way of creating the future, and how in our choice to care for ourselves and care for our neighbors and strangers and all the people who need respect and recognition and compassion and appreciation, and all the ways that we can have that respect for others, and intentions of caring and having needs met for all beings. As we head toward that, we are making that choice of caring, and that choice of caring is anti-destruction. It is life affirming. It is our power to choose, our power to show up, and our power to create things that are not yet created, but we can create them through our fear. So I am not saying be in denial or deluding yourself about the realities we face, because the realities are challenging. They are challenging, and they are asking us to change. They are asking us to transform, and it is how we respond to that demand from the universe to become what we must become that is in the hero's journey. That is how we respond, how we evolve, how we shift our consciousness, how we step into the power that is inherent in being human and claim that. Whether you're a minority, whether you are in a group that is oppressed, whether you are a woman or identify as a woman or whatever, right? It's all about how we show up and claim our power to be who we are and work together, recognizing that each of us has something very important to offer. We all have a piece, we all have a perspective, a piece of the piece, so to speak, a PIECE of the PEACE. And when we show up as ourselves, we can help to make our piece of the piece its very best, and work together with respect for others and their piece of the piece. So I'm sure I have more to say, and I will be saying more in the coming days. I am going to be offering, I don't have it ready quite yet, but I'm going to be offering a recorded reading that can help you understand where you fit in this moment in history and how you can see your personal way forward, your personal peace, and how you can best do that and align with your own path to show up in the ways that are part of the solution, part of the healing, part of the evolution, part of changing in the ways that you need to change. Just as a reminder, we've been doing healing work. Remember, we've been doing this work for decades. If you're watching me and you're with me this far into this video, you know what I'm talking about. We've been doing our self-healing, our generational healing, our political healing, all the things. We've been working on it. And so this is it. This is when we get to step into our ability to shine and be who we are, and change and bring about change in the ways that we are here to do. So, so that recorded reading, again, I don't have it ready yet, but when I do, I will put the link in this video, and I'll be sharing more about it as we go forward. And then that will be some support that you can get for your own individual path in how to embrace and embody this future in your full power. Thank you so much for being here and for watching all the way to the end and being here with me, and for all the ways that you show up to shine your light in the world. I'm Marina Orms. You can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. You can book a reading. If you can't wait for that recorded reading, you can go and book one today. So thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing to this YouTube channel. I am here every day. I do share every day with you the astrology that we have and how it helps us step into unshakable self-care. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.